his trainer at the time came to me and he told me, I don't think he will make it, but this guy was super smart. I looked at him, I had a conversation with him. He was a young individual when he started. He was, I think, 19 years old. And I just always had a lot of belief in him, right? Now he has one of the biggest teams in the office. He actually left the business, right? He stayed in the business for a year or two, left the business for years, came back last year, and he said, you know what, I'm fully committed into the business. So he left the business, he's tried a lot of other things. He said, you know what, I think I'll make way more money doing this long term, right, if I just stick into things. He had some commitment issues, okay, and now let me say this, but he had a lot of commitment issues of committing to not necessarily his significant other, it's more like commitment issues to the people, to the job. He just goes to a job, tries it out, whatever the fuck it is, and he just leaves. Right, he wanted to do a whole state, he did a whole state, he did flipping houses, he did houses that are getting burned and you just need to fix them, whatever. He did everything you can think of. And he did cars, he did whatever, but then he said, I want to come back, I want to teach people, I can make good amount of money, I also can teach people make that good amount of money. Man, sign me up, I just want to get back, I want to build an empire. He's going to take a few people with, I'm super upset, I love him. Okay, I'm super excited for them. I'm super upset because I really love them and I care about them. But I'm excited for you guys joining me. I would like you to come up and give us a story of the king of, I know half of you guys are his team. So the king of cartel. I'm gonna feel like
It's a bittersweet moment, I'm not gonna lie. No, but I guess I'll share from the very beginning. I actually grew up in this small town called Ferris, Red Oak. I lived in Red Oak and I graduated from Ferris. Super small town, I graduated maybe with 200 people. So it was a super small town. Everybody there that graduated, what they did is they did labor. They usually went to become a welder, they went to become a diesel mechanic, the construction. So growing up, I grew up with a Mexican household. So obviously it was an immigrant family as well. So my upbringing, I think it was I would say is the best. I had everything I needed. I always had food. I always had shelter. My dad worked the best he could for us to have food on the table. But I didn't have any money growing up, like nothing. I was honestly poor. Not necessarily poor. I had everything I needed, but I'm not gonna say I'm living on the streets. But it was a Mexican household of just, it was mom and dad. They just taught us to do the right thing every single time, work hard. My mom never worked. So growing up, it was difficult for me because I didn't have a lot of money growing up. So I know exactly what it feels like to struggle. I know what it feels like to have no money, like literally. No, wearing the same pair of shoes a whole year in school, I did that. And I think maybe coming from that, maybe it's the reason why my mentality is really different from others. It's not the average mentality, I would say. So growing up, obviously I didn't have money, but I have a loving family, like love I always had with my family. That's something that I'm grateful for. But up until I graduated, I always had the mentality, I was like, I want more out of life, right? I want more things, I want money, I want to be successful, all these things, right? So like growing up, I graduated, I didn't know what I wanted to do. At first I wanted to go to college. I was like, I'm gonna go do accounting. But then I soon realized, I was like, I like challenges. I don't like being behind an office all day. So I was like, I'm not gonna do the average thing and go do accounting, for example, right? So I ended up joining the military. I did that for personal reasons. It was more for my family. And as soon as I graduated that summer, I went to boot camp. And I think whenever I went to boot camp, I know Angel can relate to this a lot. He's in the military himself. I went to boot camp, then I went to school, and I had so much fun there. I don't regret anything. I think I learned a lot. It gave me a lot of experience and disciplined me a lot. It taught me a lot of discipline in my life. So at that time, obviously I still don't know what I would do. I was maybe like 18 years old at the time. And then after I pretty much graduated school, I worked at the Dallas Market Center here in Dallas for like a year. At that time, I was partying. I was going out every single weekend. Like I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life, right? So at that time, I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I was maybe 18, 19. It's crazy because we have some people here that are 18 years old and 19 years old, which is crazy to me because for you to already be here at this early, it's like you got a head start in life, if that makes sense. Getting out of your comfort zone, doing the sales, learning all these things. So for me, I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life, and then something really bad happened in my life where it kind of turned around. I was like, I have to get my shit together, right? And after that, I was like, I want to be a diesel mechanic. So I went to school to be a diesel mechanic. I did that for about a year. I did like one semester in school to be a diesel mechanic. But then eventually my goal was to eventually own a business, right? Own a business as a diesel mechanic. But then I realized I was like, I don't want to be lazy. Fuck labor, it's not me, right? So after that, I was just applying everywhere. I just wanted to do something to do with business. I wanted to look nice, right? And I ran into athlete marketing at the time, and I applied. And I came into the interview, and I just saw a whole bunch of people dressed nice, just having fun. It was like a positive atmosphere, and I don't know what I was like, what do these guys do? Why are they so happy? Why are they excited? Why are they yelling? Why are they smiling all the time or whatever? And I was like, screw it, I'll take the job. And soon enough, after I took the job, I was super shy. I never wanted to do sales in my life. Khalil would hammer me about it. He was like, oh, you need to get out of your comfort zone. You need to speak louder. You need to talk to every single person. You need to just get out of your comfort zone. And it was tough for me in the very beginning, I'm not gonna lie. My first time it was at Walmart in my hometown in Red Oak. So it was very difficult for me because I was, the story? Yeah, one time Khalil was running an Impact and he was just talking about, doing this or whatever. And then I caught on to that and we just kind of locked eyes and we just connected to them, right? So that was kind of where everything started with Khalil. Honestly, like to God, one of the biggest reasons I stayed in this business was because of Khalil from day one. This guy is amazing. I thank him so much. I'm super appreciative for this guy. He's taught me so much, giving me so much mentorship, and you guys don't realize the person that you have in the room with you. The guy is just super appreciative. He's taught me so many things, and he's literally been the one to get me out of my comfort zone every single time. There's been so many times where he's pissed me off so bad, and he tells me to get my shit together, but he never does that because he wants to get onto me. He's always done that because he cares about me, and he cares about my future, and he wants the best for me. And because I did that the whole time, it's kind of why I'm here today, right? And kind of fast forward, I took the job. I was there for like 6 months. I was actually under Ryan McSpadden, if you guys know him. I actually left with Ryan McSpadden whenever he first opened his office. So I was able to experience like him opening the office from the very beginning all the way up. And he started with the small regions. We had like 3 offices. We got kicked out. We had a couple people. And obviously he's successful now. I was in Denver maybe for like 6, 7, 8 months. And then after that, I got promoted. And it's funny because in my head at that time, my mentality was like, I just want to hit my qualifications and become an owner. At the time, I was like, I just want to own a business. That's it. Nobody in my business had ever owned a business. So my thing was like, let me just become an owner, make all this money, everything sounds great, right? So what happened is I got promoted, and maybe within a couple months, like within a month or 2, I actually left the business. I saved up over $20,000, $30,000 in the bank, and I thought I was on top of the world. There was other things that I wanted to do. That's why he says that I'll maybe start somewhere and then quit. Is because at the time I wanted to do all these things. I wanted to do real estate. I wanted to sell cars. I wanted to do all these things, right? So I was like, let me save $20,000, $30,000. Let me quit the business, come back home because I miss my family. And I actually started like real estate, wholesaling real estate. I got a 6-month lease office and I did the whole thing, right? And then I ran out of money. I'm back to ground zero, right? And but I don't regret it because I actually went and did what I wanted to do. Because if not, I would have always thought about it and like just think to myself, what would it look like if I actually would have tried? And I've always been that type. I don't care to fail. Like no matter what it is in life, I'm gonna go get it. Whatever it is that I want, I'll try to get it. If I fail, it's okay. You keep trying, just get back up, right? So I did that for like about 6 months, and then I did this other business with fencing with my dad for a little bit, and then eventually I got my dealer license to buy and sell cars at auctions. I did that for a little bit too. And then right after that, I was at a dealership for a year selling cars. As a car salesman, I was making maybe $10,000 to $20,000 every single month. I was making really good money. But I was there for about a year, and I was like, the only way for me to move up and make more money was for me to move up to finance. And the way I saw it, being in the office, just stuck there for the rest of your life for 20, 30 years. Maybe you're making 20, 30,000 every single month, but I was like, that's not the life that I want to live. I was like, this is not what I want. I don't want to make all this money for what? Just to be stuck in a room and not enjoy my life, not be able to share, the time with my family in the future, whatever the case is. Because I saw them and I was like, I don't see myself doing this for the rest of my life. And I usually catch on quick to things. Like there's a rhythm to life sometimes. If that's what it's gonna look like for you in the next 10 years, I was like, nah, this isn't it. And soon enough, I actually talked to Khalil, and he kind of brought up the business. He brought up the opportunity. We talked a little bit here and there. Actually, he kind of just planted the seed, and then maybe after a couple months, and I think after a while, I was like, you know what, this isn't for me. I want to go back to the business. And my goal at first coming back to the business was just to make a lot of money. I was like, you know what, let me just go back. I mean, I came from making 10 to 20,000. Raise your hand. If you're making 10 to 20,000 a month, would you go down to maybe making 5 to 10,000? You probably wouldn't, right? It was very difficult. Like the first week I wanted to quit, and I was like, what? But it just pushed me harder to make more sales, and eventually I was making, 2,000 every single week, almost 3,000 every single week. But just coming back into the business, my mentality was way more clear. I had already experienced going to another job, because sometimes what happens in this business is you think the grass is greener on the other side, but sometimes it's not the case. Right, exactly. It's the grass is greener where you water it. So for me to go and do all these things, try these businesses, try these jobs and all these things, it was easier. It was easier for me to come into the business and be like, you know what, this is what I want to do. And the reason for that is because with this opportunity, you have the potential to make that much money every single month. But not only that, you are your own business owner. You control your pay, you control your environment, you control your life. If I have to go take care of something as an owner, I can literally go do that. I can take the time off like Mr. Khalil. This man, he lives an amazing life, but he worked his ass off for the past couple of years just to get to where he's at right now. And he's super humble. It's crazy to me. One time we were at has anybody been to the Monarch? It's a restaurant on the 49th floor. You been there? So one time we were there, right? And we walk out, we're waiting for our cars at valet. And this guy, he was just bragging about how much money this guy made. He was bragging to Khalil the entire time. He was like, man, I make all this money, I have this business, blah, blah, blah. And Khalil was trying so hard, he was biting his tongue because I know he makes way more money than the guy. But he was humble enough to just be like, okay, sir, you make more money than me. But at the back of his mind, he's like, I make way more money than you. But for me, just to see him be that humble in front of somebody else was just crazy to me. You're that successful and you're humble, that's something that I've taken away from him. I'm telling you, I'm taking so much things from Khalil, it's crazy. He doesn't know it himself, but the biggest thing is just being a student to the game is one of the things that's really going to help you. If you listen to the guy, if you listen to what he tells you to do, I promise you're going to be successful in the business. But just coming back to the business, obviously I was just focused on making a lot of money, and I think it was cool. I think it got to the point that I kind of got tired of it. I was top 5 every single week. The sales, I was just getting them left and right. But then I started realizing, like, the money is not in sales. Like 100% not. It's not in the sales. It's in you building your team and getting promoted and becoming a market manager. And then I think it got to the point that I was like, you know what? I think it's time to build my team. And that's whenever I sat down and talked to Khalil. And when I talked to him, that was it. It was game over from there. I started hiring people left and right. I started losing people left and right. I couldn't count how many people I lost. And none of you guys see that, right? Some people here lose one person and then they think it's the end of the world. You have to go through so many people in this business. Like, as far as training and just dealing with different personalities, like, there's so much that you're gonna learn, right? So the biggest thing for me was I started building my team. I lost the team. I started hiring people under me. I lost them, and it was just happening. It was happening so often. But the thing is that I used to always think success was just like being happy, having all the good things in life or whatever. But then sooner I realized, like, no, success, you're gonna deal with so much stress, and you're gonna deal with so much headaches, and you're gonna deal with so much things. But that's, if you want to make a lot of money, you have to have those problems, because in order for you to make a lot of money, you have to be able to deal with those problems, right? So the biggest thing for me was just going through the business. I mean, I couldn't tell you how many times I wanted to quit, but I think the second I started building a team, I started being more selfless. I started thinking more of the people under me. If my sales were down, then I would affect my team. If I would have quit a long time ago, I would have fucked up the opportunity for Alessandro and for Jaime. They're actually going with me to Houston. So for me, I had to be selfless. I had to look at it like, I'm doing this not only for myself, I'm doing this for them. Because the way I see it, me going into Houston, I think it's pretty cool that I'm able to give the opportunity that I was given to other people. But not only that, I'm actually able to change their family tree. Like, they want to become owners, they want to make a lot of money. So for me to be able to give the opportunity to somebody else, that means way more to me than anything else. Than working a 9-to-5 job, making $10,000 to $20,000 every single month. So I think the biggest thing for me was just being selfless. I had to learn how to be selfless. I had to learn how to be more humble. I had to get out of my comfort zone. I'm not gonna lie, speaking in front of people, it was super uncomfortable, and Khalil would call me out for it every single time. He would always make me do it because I didn't like it. But because of that, I grew so much as a person. And he just pushed me and pushed me and pushed me. There were so many times where I was like, why are you doing that? Like, it's out of my comfort zone. Like, why do you want me to do that? And now that I'm looking back at it, it's like, damn, it paid off. Now because he got me out of my comfort zone, I'm where I'm at now. And this is not even the beginning. Like, me going into Houston, one of my biggest goals is being #1 in Khalil's work, which I'm gonna be able to do that, and I'm gonna do it. So
the team is #1.
Yeah, the team is #1, right? And honestly, leaving, I'm like super excited for everybody in the room because everybody here has the same opportunity as me. There's literally nothing different from it, like nothing. You don't have to be the best salesperson. You don't have to be the best speaker to overcome that obstacle and achieve what it is that I want. But honestly, that's pretty much my story. I wish everybody the best here. This is gonna be my last day in the office. I'll be going to